Welcome to E4Electric live from Bangkok, Thailand. Today we're going to talk about something that I've been wondering about for a long time, and a lot of you have commented on almost every single one of my videos. Alex, why are you so negative about all this electric car news? Isn't there something positive going on? And I always go like, I try to look for it and not much. So today we're going to talk about why electric car news suck this year, though I think they've been sucking for a while. But this year, especially, you're probably also on top of just regular electric car sources. You probably see the mainstream media articles that are not so great. And now that Trump and Biden and now Harris have been going back and forth about electric cars, and then Elon Musk added to the mix, so we're going to do something very different today. We're actually going to scroll through the news feed. I picked Inside EVs. There's also Electric and Jalopnik and a few other sources, but I think Inside EVs essentially catches all the electric car stories because honestly, like literally, will be like somebody farted in a Tesla and the car went on fire, but because it was a Tesla, let's talk about the farts. So like they publish like everything that has any keyword in it that would be Tesla or electric cars or whatever. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to actually scroll through the feed. And of course, I'll answer some questions. The super chats are always appreciated. As a matter of fact, as you guys know, I've been changing the format of the channel. I've been doing 2 videos a day in vertical short format. Pausing it this week. I think I'm gonna put up and this is my attempt to put up a more positive news. And what you're gonna see from me in the next couple of weeks. Less videos, but I think they're gonna be a little bit more stories about what's happening with either some of the news, but I also wanted to kind of go back and revisit some of the things that I think we all forgot about. Like for example, like do you all remember when you saw the Cybertruck? A first picture for the first time, because I don't know if you guys know, when they showed it to us, people who were at the Model Y event, nobody noticed, and Elon Musk had to tweet that picture again because none of us noticed. And then, of course, we started talking about like, what the hell is this? Is this a scanner on wheels? Hey, John, how are you doing? From Sacramento, California. All right, so let's talk about now. By the way, I know kind of the answer, and we're going to do this exercise together. I'm going to show you guys a story, and we're going to talk about, is this positive story or is it negative story? Is there a negative story inside of the positive story or the other way around? We're going to do that. So now here's why I think what's happening. At first, just like with any technology, remember when the iPhone came out? Oh my God, all this new stuff, and then there's an app in the App Store, and everything. And then as Android came out, and it was exciting, right? The same thing happened with electric cars, essentially, when Tesla came out. But once, all these promises and, the prototypes and concept cars have, gone into production, and we saw what is actually happening. And on top of that, I think a lot of it has been mismanaged, and then Elon Musk turned into a lunatic, and just a lot of things have unfortunately gone not exactly the way we've all, or at least I have imagined. Well, that's where we're at now with everything. So, and I think also people have just cooled off on the idea of electric cars because it's no longer new. We kind of know the features. We kind of know what's coming. The improvements are not by 100% every day, right? They're just little by little. And I do have to say that before that, no mainstream media publications like Motor Trend or whatever automobile wanted to touch electric cars. So there were people like me reporting it to you, and we because we were excited about it, the news were double and triple exciting, right? Exciting news talking about just regular people like me who just love their cars. But at some point, Motor Trend and others realized, oh man, those electric cars are becoming really popular. We should really start making money on it. And so all of the invites that used to go to the media drives and everything to people like me and other smaller YouTubers just started to go to Motor Trends and exclusives and stuff like that. And, let me tell you, people at Motor Trend don't give a shit about electric cars. So it's just so now the news of electric cars are being delivered to you by people who don't really give a shit. Maybe some of them do, but generally speaking, they're not exactly the enthusiasts. So hello to everybody, who's watching me. I still haven't figured out which which side I'm on. Um, and I'll get to you guys, but let's do this together. So please, full participation is required. And by the way, it is past midnight here in Bangkok. So we are going to get through this. I'm actually hosting a really cool electric car related event panel this Friday. I don't know if you guys saw, I was actually emceeing and hosting another event, or earlier in the summer. Summer's over, actually. Can believe this. So it was my second summer in Bangkok. I cannot believe I have actually lived. This is my second year living in a foreign exotic country, which I now call home. That is insane. Okay, so I have to do some switcherooning between the screens here. So I am going to show you the let's see, the okay. So this is Inside EV's very first page, the top of the page, right? And let me scroll down a little bit so you can see. As you can see, it says barely used Lucid Air EVs are selling for less than half original MSRP. So, all right. Well, this, by the way, when a lot of these publications put something on top of the feed, that means that it is most likely the most popular story that's getting all the views. So that's the story. And I can tell you, it's already, there's a positive, but there's a bigger negative here, right? But you guys go ahead and tell me, is this a positive story or is this a negative story? I'll give you my opinion about it really quick, since I might as well. First, you can say, hey, listen, this is great news. I mean, you can get a almost brand new Lucid. And if you read an article, I actually did take a look at it really quick. Take a look at the article. It's great, right? I mean, damn, half a price, and these cars are almost like bare. I think they didn't even go through the first service yet. Several thousand miles on some of them. Great deal, great for consumers, right? Well, for the consumers who want to buy one, not for the consumers who have them and now lost half of the value in the first 5 to 10,000 miles. That's bad. That's bad for electric cars. And you probably have seen these articles and stories come out and come and go where, and it hurts. The biggest story, which nobody noticed, I think, except for me, and nobody cared when I reported on it, is that Hertz, right? They committed to buying 100,000 Tesla's Model 3, I believe, for their fleet, which was great. There were, and I think they put I'm not big on football, American football, not the real football. They put a big football star, to advertise there. You guys, I'm sure one of you knows. Please tell me in the chat who that superstar was, to advertise Hertz's Tesla fleet. Now, I thought it was a bad idea just because it's really hard to get into a Tesla for the first time. After a long trip, especially, and having to figure out a million things how they work in Tesla and not in other cars. But most importantly, Hertz ended up losing so much money on the depreciation of the cars. And it's because obviously the price war started. Tesla started it, and now it looks like they're actually losing it to BYD. But Tom Brady, thank you, Cake Batter. Tom Brady, that's right. So and the just depreciation of anything that is part of the technology that's moving fast is a normal thing, right? I mean, almost every smartphone, maybe not as much now, but even now, goes down in price really quick because the new one comes out within 6 months to 12 months. All right, so I haven't even started scrolling, so let me get back into the feed. And so again, we're using Inside EVs because I feel like they post pretty much every single possible story. All right, here we go. So here's the first page of news. And as you can see, the first one, Volvo says the X90 hardware ready for self-driving, but there's a catch. Okay. So it's a positive headline. I'll give you that. It's a positive headline, but if there's a catch for self-driving, most likely it is not a self-driving we can, of course, click on it and see what the actual news is. You guys can see everything that Rainbow says the vehicle hardware necessary for unsupervised autonomous driving. Now that's good. That's level 4, but Volvo's promise is different than Tesla's with a focus on highway driving for the near future. Okay, so it's something that what the I'm going to go back here. It's something that Mercedes also already done, right? And GM too. So essentially, it's unsupervised, but it's on highways only. Now, if it would be on all highways, I'll be like, you know what? Kudos, but it's probably not. However, this is a positive story. So I'm actually going to go and say this is a positive story. Is it enough for get people jumping up and down? Probably not, because essentially people want uh, uh, a product that's ready for the market. It looks like they're just announcing it, and they would like to probably limit you to certain highways, and then it's like forget it. Let's move on to the next story. So far, we're actually doing pretty good, I think. Not a fully negative story yet. All right, so the next one is updated Tesla Model Y will come as a 6-seater in China. Report. Okay, so this is one of those things where who gives a shit? Honestly, I think like reporting on what's happening in China, at best it will tell you like, okay, maybe this is coming to America, but in this case it's a report, which means it's like there's no confirmation for Tesla, which is one of the biggest, well, one of many fuck ups that that Elon Musk has done by essentially dismissing his PR department, because like you can't confirm everything is a report unless Elon Musk decides to tweet about it or someone just finds out that it showed up in the showroom. So I think a lot of people just don't care about what's going on in China, knowing that they're not going to see it. Definitely in America, where most of my audience is, but even in Europe, I know I have some audience in Europe. Obviously, a question about talk, but at the same time, I also don't. I know there are some countries that even BYD is still not selling their cars yet. So let me know if you think this is a positive story, negative story, or no story whatsoever. All right, let's move to the next one. I'm gonna have to scroll here. Sorry, I'm working through a few screens here. Okay, a Volvo ES90 teased range-topping electric sedan coming soon. All right, to me, once again, it's a non-story. I don't care about their teased image. The Volvos, I mean, we kind of all know that they're all going to look the same. I love the way Volvos look nowadays, but they're going to look exactly kind of what you would think that Volvo would look like. There would be no like, oh my god, like there's going to be no Cybertruck, type of designs that stand out from the rest of the model lineup in a good or bad way, right? So okay, now, so I don't care about teasers. I don't think people care about teasers. And the range-topping electric sedan coming soon. We don't know when. And on top of that, range-topping, what the hell does it mean? A lot of times, these brands promise, and this is where we used to get excited about it, like, oh, what's the range? But now we realized, oh yeah, they're gonna promise whatever they pull out of their butts, and then it's actually not going to be that, and then the EPA rating is going to be even less, and then a real world rating is going to be even less than that, and so we've kind of all gotten used to get beaten down, I feel like, right? So that's very kind of unfortunate. So okay, but let me know if you think this is positive news, negative news, or no news. Let's see. All right, no comments from you guys, so I will move on to the next one. And this one, I can already see this is not a good news. Volvo admits defeat. We just had somewhat okay news from Volvo, but right underneath it, Volvo admits defeat, won't go fully electric by 2030. We've heard this from quite a few manufacturers now, including Volkswagen, including Ford. Ford was really big, right? Where they're like, yeah, all that. yeah, we're gonna do electric cars and yeah, and make our dealerships and they better and and it's gonna be this and that. And now they're like, yeah, we were just kidding. I think we're gonna go stick with hybrids. Um, so Volvo, it seems like yet another manufacturer that's going to be like, yeah, okay, well, we liked it. You liked our hopes, but we're not. We ain't we're gonna do it. And I, I'm kind of thinking, and help me out here, guys. Feel free to chime in. Do we blame the manufacturers or do we blame the consumers? I personally don't think that blaming consumers really ever the case. This is a capitalist society, so um, consumers will buy whatever is appealing to them. And the fact that these electric cars are, not delivering what they promised, and most importantly, I think, is none of these manufacturers, and this is a problem that I can't emphasize how big it is. It's just nobody ever kind of admits to it. None of these manufacturers, till this day, give a shit about the infrastructure. You know, the only manufacturer that ever gave a shit about it is Tesla, right? And they build one. I know we passed, here over there in America, the bill got passed to essentially spend like 1.6 billion dollars on the on the infrastructure, and so far we got like 10 or 20 of those, like in the entire country, locations live. Now I know it takes a long time, but that's problem with the bill, where the bill kind of allowed all this bullshit bureaucracy to still, and the way they ask for the grants and grant the grants, and then the permits and all that stuff. None of it, it seemed like they thought about streamlining, so that's why it takes a while. It will build out, but for example, a law at some point needs to be done, whether not, probably not federal level, but maybe state levels and maybe county levels, where apartment complexes at some point will need to provide a dedicated electric vehicle charging. Like that, there has to be a law. There is no law like that right now. So even when I was living in California, like Silicon Valley, right, one of the highest concentrated places for electric cars, and I would go and look at $5,000 a month, one bedroom apartment, two-bedroom apartment in a brand new building, and I'll be like, hey, you got an electric car charger? And they'll be like, yeah, we got a couple of them collecting dust in the corner. I was like, are they dedicated? They're like, no, no, first come, first serve. And I'm like, do you guys even understand that first come, first serve does not work for people who like need the fuel, that need the charge? Like, I'm not gonna gamble if someone else parked their car overnight there and I can't charge in the morning, can go to work. So that's a problem. So the infrastructure, both long distance travel, but essentially infrastructure for apartment complexes, townhouses, stuff like that, is really non-existent. And it really is, I think, why a lot of people just don't want to buy an electric car, and that's why the growth, not the sales growth, has slowed down. Now, I think Tesla has its own problem with their boss, but generally speaking, the sales have slowed down. Now, I've told you many times, guys, that Tesla is the only electric car brand that makes electric cars that is selling less electric cars this year they were last year. But they have a company. So I think Polestar just announced that they now that are selling less electric cars this year than the previous year. So overall, we definitely see there's growth. I believe last time when I checked, it was July. The growth was about still 16% year over year altogether, and I think like 40% or 45% year over year if you don't count Tesla. Uh, so there's definitely progress, but the growth has slowed down, and it's a little early in an electric car adoption process for it to give us trouble. But the infrastructure is definitely one of those one of those problems. Okay, what are we going to do now? We're going to actually continue with reviewing the news because we kind of slowed down. So let me scroll to the news. And all right, so Volvo admits defeat. That's where everything started. We drive the next one. We drive the electric Bentley Blower Junior. Okay, so this is a story about essentially a conversion, right? And I know it's kind of cool. You convert an old car into an electric. And I got to tell you, if I had the money, was still in the U.S., and maybe I'll do it one day, because I love a classic Rolls Royce, and I even had one in America. I had a 1985 Rolls Royce Silver Spirit 2. I sold it. It was just a lot of trouble, and I love driving it. Oh my god, I love driving it. But if I could convert a Rolls Royce like that into an electric, that would be great. So that's the story. But do we really give a shit about this? I mean, yeah, it's a fun story, but do we really care about something like this as people who are following electric car news? Uh, I don't. I think it's cool, but let's just look at it as a positive story. But at the same time, there's just what I've noticed that you can have a positive story that nobody wants to watch, even if it's a cool positive story, right? Okay, all right. So next one on the list, again, Volvo. Now we're talking about plug-in electric. So PHEV has chargeable looks, new tech. Okay, not exactly electric car, but and here's the next one. It also says next gen Volvo electric semi truck to deliver up to 373 miles of range. That's double of the current model's rating. So interesting stories. Well, first of all, it, I see a lot of stories about new models coming on the market. This one is not even fully EV; it's a plug-in hybrid EV. What I'm seeing now is that a new generation. And by the way, by new generation, I just mean next year's models are just like with gas cars. They're not that much better. They do improve the range. They put some extra tech in it, but I think these are very different from what it used to be, because a lot of times before that, right, the next year they would do something really cool, just because there were a lot of stuff to still work out and a lot of tech that was catching up to their production. But now it's like, all right, well, we kind of expected you to add 5 to 10 miles of range. Kind of like, would be surprised if you didn't, because you sure raised the price. So are those stories positive? Yes, but I just don't like. I I I don't find them. I don't find them worth talking about. But let me know if I'm wrong. Like, is this an exciting story? And then, of course, let's talk about the next generation Volvo electric semi truck. Okay, so that's another thing. Like, I feel like Tesla semi truck got a lot of attention because it's just like Tesla semi truck and it looked really cool and all that stuff. But the other, like, I just went to Volvo event in Sweden, right? And it was cool, and I made so many amazing videos with all of this, cool equipment from cool equipment from Volvo Industrial, right? Because that's a real Volvo. The Volvo Cars now is actually owned by Geely, which is the Chinese manufacturer. But I just, I just realized that a lot of people just don't really care, because I mean, semi trucks, right? I think hardcore enthusiasts might care that the semi trucks are getting electric and they're getting more range and all the stuff. But um, again, if we're talking about people who are just shopping for an electric car, I don't think they care that much about the semi trucks. And by the way, so the new range is 373 miles. I'm going to go and guess that it's WLTP, European system, which probably brings it down closer to 300. Before that, it was 186 miles, which probably was closer to 140, right? But as this article mentions, that semi truck, offers 300 to 500 miles, and that's the EPA range. So it's like, all right, well, you double your range, but you're still like, at 60% of what Tesla offers. So yay. So that's my Debbie Downer take on this. Ford patents a way to bring ads inside your car. Is that a positive story? Or it's like, hey, Ford's figured out how to annoy the shit out of you while you're driving while making money on you. you know? There's a robot taxi, everything we know. That usually means that we don't know much. Okay, a recall. That's not good. Especially fire risk. I mean, my goodness. See, this is the stuff that drives me crazy, because no matter how many, like, there's a lot of videos that I've reacted to. Did a reaction videos. Basically, people saying, "Oh, see those electric cars? They're on fire all the time. All we see is fire, fire, fire." And it's true. They all you see on the news when there is a car fire, it's electric car. But usually, not usually, I'm just going to go at without usually, because electric car fires are so rare, but they get so many clicks. That's what people see. But they've been now at least two surveys that show that electric cars, per, let's say, 100,000, are more than 100 times less likely to catch on fire. So, I like, yeah. I mean, I actually did this video. What was that guy who's just like, uh old school car guy who just shits on electric cars all the time? Scotty someone. Anyway, so I did a video where, he just shitted on electric cars, and I just one by one, I basically, while making fun of him how he talks, uh disprove every single statement that he did. And, I posted it. He did okay, yeah. But then I went to Facebook, which I rarely check, and it did like 100,000 views or something crazy like that. And I look at the comments, and every single comment just wants me dead. And I realized that this video, the reason it got popular on Facebook is because his fans reposted my video, and basically told me that I'm a piece of shit. So, but nobody really argued against any of my points, it looks like. And when they did, it was just more stuff. Yeah, Scotty Kilmer. Thank you, Mark. And, so, and that was probably my best video that I made about electric car fires, because he also mentioned, like, every time I see one, I'm on fire. It's like, yeah, that's true. It's because it's so rare that they even show you on TV, because, gas cars catch on fire all the time. And it's so often that I was going to cover that. Anyway, thank you for watching me, guys. Thank you for the super chats. This has been once again a pleasure. Let's meet here, same time, same day, which is in 6 days, 20 and 22 hours. All right, I will talk to you guys later. And as always, remember to stay charged.